Hi again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Capitol Talk with RV Business, sponsored by the Dicor Corporation. With me, as always, Sherm Goldenberg, publisher of RV Business. I'm Rick Kessler, editor of RV Business, and joining the two of us today is Curt Hemmeler, executive director at the RV Technical Institute. Curt, thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you, gentlemen. Glad to be here.
I guess we're recording this the week leading up to Christmas. Typically a quiet period for the industry, but not quiet for you. And maybe we start with, try to recap, if you could, a 2021 year that was interesting to say the least.
Sure. Yeah. If 2021, it had its fair share of good and bad. Obviously, the industry was very good in sales. And with sales being so robust, I would say it was a little quiet in the beginning of the year, the first half of the year. But I would also like to say in the last 6 months, I would comfortably say that 4 to 5 times the amount of calls and interest on training has picked up, which obviously makes sense as things move forward and these units more and more hit the road. So yeah, we've been busy in 2021, really just finishing up all the curriculum and getting its 5 delivery models ready to go in person, online, hybrid, as well as most recently, we moved to a new subscription model, which I'm sure you'll be asking me about, which we're really excited about because 2022 is our first year of just going hard and heavy into recruitment, which if you remember, the Institute has a mission of training, certifying, and recruiting. And so we feel very comfortable. We got the first 2 going, and now it's time to start recruiting.
Curt, everybody tells stories about the pandemic. They tell stories about 2021, and what was its impact on your operation? Sure.
2021, the impact for us was we couldn't teach live until July, basically. And then we did start teaching live again then, which that did hurt us in, let's say, practice, because remember, we were turned off from live training clear back in January of 2020 and hadn't been teaching live. But that didn't stop us because it gave us the opportunity to partner with the BISC Education Group to move our curriculum to an online format, both level 1 and level 2, as well as creating a hybrid. So like I said, it's good and bad. The pandemic, obviously not to make light of that, but it did give us the opportunity to really buckle down and do what we really weren't planning to do until after we got really good at doing live classes. But we were able to get that done. The other thing that happened in 2021 is we continue to grow our number of learning partners. And I'm happy to say that we have basically, of the top 10 largest dealer groups out there, we have almost all of them as learning partners, which really lends the industry well. So they now will be able to take everything that RVTI has created and do it at their own dealerships, at their own dealer networks, which supports the hub and spoke model, which we created and was basically the business model that we were going to use to dispatch the education as it's created.
Go back a half step. The hub and spoke. Well, I think I know what you mean, but what do you mean?
Sure. Hub and spoke. That's how I would describe our business model, meaning that the hub is the institute here in Elkhart, Indiana. It's the heart of everything. It's there with purpose because of all of our partners, OEM suppliers, being able to feed the curriculum, making sure we stay up to date and innovative with all the curriculum. But of course, the idea of having everybody come to Elkhart for training, though I know it's on everybody's bucket list to come to Elkhart, but for those that it's not, we want to make sure there was an avenue for them to get educated. And from my past experience in education, this really was the future. It was what I planned to bring to the industry to begin with, was this outreach. So if you think about a learning partner or spoke, in this case, is anybody that wants to do live face-to-face training anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world for that And that's how we get scope. That's how we grow and we hit the big numbers. And we're not driving people just to Elkhart, because that would just, one, financially, it doesn't make sense for a lot of folks, especially our dealer friends. The second part is we wouldn't have a building big enough if everybody decided to come the same week.
Let's you touched on it, but so let's get into it. The new subscription model. What is that all about?
Yeah, we're really excited about that. So, it would be behoove me not to thank the board, both RVTI, RVIA, and Go RVing, for coming together to really support a new financial structure, if you may. And beginning in January of 2022, we will be introducing subscription modeling, meaning that there's an individual subscription that a person, either in the industry, outside the industry, can come to RVTI, or I should say, subscribe to RVTI, which gives them, for $300, they get level 1 and level 2. However they want to take it, online, in person, and that's good for 1 year, and that's for anybody, $300. The other element is what we call a rooftop subscription, which is $1,200. $1,200 fits very nicely with a dealership, but or it could be a dealership, it could be a prison system, it could be a high school. But the idea here is for $1,200 for 1 year, you can have unlimited training, level 1 and level 2. And that includes online and sending people to Elkhart as well. This also includes testing, at least one attempt at the 4 different tests that are involved in level 1 and level 2. So that's an individual at $300, a rooftop at $1,200, which is unlimited, both of them for a 1 year period of time. And then there's a third piece called the authorized learning partner, which is, I mentioned already, those spokes. In this case, if you are interested in doing just live training, for $2,500, you can become a learning partner for 1 year. And then there's one last, I guess I should add, which is the authorized learning plus, which is when you want to do face-to-face, and you also have a dealership, 1 or 2 that you want to bring in and into the fold, and you want them to take online classes too. So you would become a learning partner, giving you access so you can teach live to all the curriculum and everything else. And then the learning, or the rooftop piece, allows you to get access to all the online that somebody might take. So, if a dealership of 3 or 4 dealerships decides we like to do some face-to-face, we can do that because I'm a learning partner. If they say, you know what, we just want you to go online and let RVTI teach you, do the level 1, level 2 online, they become a rooftop. And so that's really, there's just really 4 points: the individual, the rooftop, the learning partner, or the learning partner plus. And this is all happening because of the fact that the 3 boards of which I mentioned came together to help subsidize some of the funding for RVTI in this next year, so that we can really focus on just blanketing the country with education. Coming from the education space at $300 for an individual for 1 year of training, it's dirt cheap. And not only that, we're actually going to be introducing some scholarships also that will be coming out, that folks that don't even have the $300 have a way of obtaining some money to go to RVTI. So yeah, the industry has really come together to say, you know what, we're serious about getting these techs trained. We have a nice solid program to do it with. Now let's just get it done.
That funding mechanism, we got to point out, is $2 off coming from each seal fee or seal assessment.
Correct. From Go RVing.
Correct.
From the Go RVing fund. Yeah. Which, as you know, that's pretty monumental. If you think about Go RVing and 20 years ago, when it came together from numerous OEMs that said, look, let's put our pennies and dollars together to do this in a big scale. It's the same exact principle. We recognize that we know we can move units off the lot brand new, but if we want to keep these newer RVers and folks coming, we gotta make sure they have a good experience on the service side of things as well. And I'm feel very comfortable that if everybody takes us up on this subscription for this next year, it's going to be the best year ever in the history of training folks for the industry.
Part of that, go ahead, Rick.
Nope, you're good.
Part of that funding, and I think you may have mentioned it, auxiliary funding, let's call it, really came from the National Go RVing campaign or coalition, correct?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Curt, it's a pretty bold announcement. I mean, it's all on.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. I often joke that when I first got into the industry 2.5 years ago, I will, for complete transparency, when I was being interviewed for the job, I saw this Go RVing sitting over here, okay, well, tell me a little bit about that. Oh, we reach millions and all this. I was like, yes, there's the marketing there. And then I joined the industry and found a little bit more out about it. And, and thanks to James and Karen and folks there who really, educated me on just, the branding and the idea of what the lifestyle is. We want to put as much energy into keeping the integrity of both programs separate as well. You're not going to see a Go RVing ad followed by an RVTI ad or something of that nature. But strategically, we will, brand the service side of things just like we did with Go RVing. And I hope to be 20 years old at 73, sitting here going, man, what a great RVTI campaign we had, just like we had with Go RVing. But yes, it is a monumental step. It says a lot for the industry. In my short 2.5 years here, I've watched my board come together remarkably, obviously being made up of manufacturers, suppliers, and dealers. It's, on our board now, we have John, from RV Retailer. We have also Camping World represents. So we have big guys, and we have some small guys there too. We got Phil. So I feel really good about the board and their supportive and direction that they want us to go here in 2022 and in the future.
You look at America's labor pool, and you read the paper about all the people that don't have jobs right now or have walked away. There's a big pool of people there. My point. How would you suspect they'll hear about RVTI, the Technical Institute? Sure.
So we're our partner, BISC Education. We have a meeting with them to also be a partner in the recruitment side of things. They have a national reach. They're going to help us along with, leaning on some other agencies that we might find to help do a campaign out there. We've identified, 4 or 5 buckets of folks that we want to pursue, such as veterans coming off of active duty or your guardsmen, high school students. We've got over 19 school counselor events scheduled for this year, where we will reach thousands upon thousands of school counselors, which is obviously your largest influencers for a good long-term play, because some of these hits are going to be quick. The veterans you can do quick. To take advantage of some of the great resignation that's going on is another bucket for those folks that through the pandemic have reevaluated life and what they want to do. We're going to go after those folks as well to through the different, we do have a big reach with those folks across all of our shows, going and having presence at some of the larger, will be at the Tampa show, Pennsylvania, some of the bigger ones as well. But the reach is going to come from many different directions. We're going to do some national campaigning as well. And, we're also going to do some nice pilots down in Florida as a test ground for some of these things, so that we can really scale it out. They have set a goal for RVTI is to bring over 1,000 new recruits into the industry here in 2022. I feel very comfortable that we're going to surpass that. But we want to make sure that we have our processes right, so that we can capture every entry point that someone might come into this industry, whether they come in through a dealer's front door, whether they come through a high school, whether they come through the military, and we will have a process that collects that data so we can continue to analyze and make sure we are fishing in the right ponds for these folks. But the easiest thing I can say, Sherm, is that there'll be no rock left unturned. I just got a report on Friday of last week. Our initiative at the Indiana Correctional Facility, we've now graduated over 22 level 1 technicians, and the second class, just all of them graduated. They all passed certification. That's 20 of that 1,000, just in one little pilot that we have going. We've got one going on in Texas. We've got Massachusetts going on. We've got community college out there we're working with. We got the JTech down in Jacksonville. So anywhere and everywhere, we're going to be looking for these folks, because it's, we're still competing with those electricians. We're competing with those plumbers. We're competing with those nurses and truck drivers and all that. And we're going to make sure we identify the pluses, the benefits of being a technician, either at a dealership or as a mobile tech. And we just need to, continue to grow that pool.
One thing I might point out, helping you with what you just said, of course, Sharon Lee, who's been with you and with RVIA for quite a while, but you brought on Bill Stewart this summer, Director of Education, and most recently, Tracy Engelmeyer, previously of Furion, among others, but she just came on board, gosh, not even a month ago.
December 1st. Yeah, she came on as our Director of Recruitment. We'll be adding a second person to assist her. But yeah, we've got now a pretty robust team. I mean, we've doubled our staffing power, which doesn't seem like a lot, and it's not a lot, but it's a pretty powerful group. And Sharon Lee is a strong engine behind that with her experience. But yeah, we are well positioned to really, in 2022, get the processes done, start spreading the word, and then scale it out as the industry responds, or as we see. But we're not gonna jump into 10 feet of water. We might jump into about 7 feet of water, but we're not gonna jump to 10 feet. That's the idea of we've partnered very closely with FRVTA, also the Florida RV Trade Association. They've been great partners with us from the very beginning. Lance and Jim, now Veronica and Dave, who I couldn't ask for better partners. They've been involved with us at all of our BISC meetings to make sure that we have it right. They have a lot of experience in education. No discredit to them. They really started a lot of these things. The pricing that we're to subscription pricing is very similar to what they were doing. And that's what kind of led me that direction. Is it makes sense for getting this going. So, many thanks to them. It takes a village, and it's a fun village.
I think you'd be a great salesman. You kind of got that natural thing, and thank you for joining.
No, thank you. Sales is actually a little bit of my background, Sherm, if you didn't know already, but it's easy to sell something that you're so passionate about. I couldn't be talking to you about other things, but now I've been blessed to come into this industry. Surprised at all. I never picked the RV industry as my final resting spot, but I'm excited and feel very honored and privileged to be leading this and just being a part of it.
Thank you, man.
Curt, thank you.
All righty. Thank you, guys. Have a great holiday and Christmas.